Welcome to the Property Investor Playbook. I'm Lara.
And I'm Daniel. We're going to show you step by step how you can grow your wealth.
Hey Daniel.
Miss Lara.
Welcome back.
I'm always back.
Happy birthday.
1 year older. 1 year older.
Yes.
We're getting there.
We are, yes.
The grades are coming out now, I think. Hope not.
Where?
Just in case.
All right, we have a great guest on today. We had a really good chat with him.
Yep.
I'll let you give a little wrap about him.
So Verv, they're one of the they're Melbourne's leading medium density builders. Why I like them is that they're not like the bigger developers out there. They can control their land and build supply straight away. So you can get quicker in terms of completing their homes and just getting there much faster pace. So I like that fact, and they're trying to be innovative. They're trying to put all these saver schemes and all these incentives together to make investors and first home buyers having that better opportunity to get into the market. So I kind of do like that.
Yeah, so we had Renato in, the director of Verv.
Yep.
He, I guess, presented a few of the great first home buyer specific opportunities that are also available to investors.
Yep.
I won't say too much more on that, but I was actually doing a bit of research yesterday on the ABS data that was released on the 31st of July. And a lot was leading to first home buyers in Victoria. So in June alone, first home buyers held over 30% of all new loan commitments across the housing sector, which is 3.8% higher than a year ago. But specifically in June, first home buyer lending in Victoria rose by 6.5%.
Wow.
Yeah. So Victoria is a state that's it's due to have a bit of growth.
It's becoming a little hotspot. We don't know about it. It's right underneath us. We're not focusing on it. I think it's time to put some spotlight on Victoria.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into the podcast.
Let's kick it.
Hey guys, how are we going?
Good.
Hi Renato.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
You look fresh today, man.
Thank you.
I like it.
Travelling up from Melbourne, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you come up today, yesterday?
No, yesterday.
Nice.
What's your coffee? What's your coffee order?
Long macchiato.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, no sugar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm just curious. I discovered this coffee. It's called Skin Magic. Apparently it's the...
Tell me more about this.
Apparently it's the Melbourne coffee. So like now everywhere I go, I'm like, I want Skin Magic. So only some places have it. Not everyone has it. So these guys all laugh at me in the office saying, this guy's having another Skin Magic. All this is double ristretto for a little bit of milk.
Yeah.
I love it. It's like a double shot piccolo. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm more of a purist, you know what I mean? Just give me 2 shots of coffee, thanks.
We try.
I'm a latte girl, so...
Better than the cameraman. He has like 6 sugars in his coffee.
Yeah, we call his coffee pancakes because it's six sugars and like 6 shots of caramel syrup.
Oof, no, that's a heart attack waiting to have.
Yeah.
I love asking people the coffee orders because it tells you a bit about them. Like, for example, like you guys laugh at my coffee order. Your one's unique. It's just coffee, straight coffee.
Yeah.
People have long blacks at 2 p.m, 4 p.m. Like, why are you having a long black at 5 p.m? What's happened today?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What's happened today that you need a big cup of coffee? Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
I think let's start off with our fast 5 questions. We've got a couple of questions to ask.
It.
We try and get them all wrapped up in 30 seconds. And we'll go from there.
I'm ready this time. Let's go.
All right. Ready?
Go.
What's your name and age?
Renato Tartaglia, I'm 38.
How many properties do you own?
At the moment, just 1.
Nice. What's your biggest property regret?
Not buying enough.
What's one thing about yourself that you've never told anyone?
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Stumps everyone.
Yeah, it stumps everyone. I don't know. I tell everyone everything.
That's also what someone said last time. Yeah. What's your most embarrassing moment?
Oh, geez, there's too many to mention.
Probably some you haven't told anyone.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing, but I'll tell everyone, so that's why I'm always in those situations.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's our fast 5.
How did we go?
Just under 44 seconds.
It's not bad.
Not too bad. Definitely that question stumps a lot of people about what haven't you told somebody about yourself. I honestly, if someone asked me, I would not know how to answer. So don't ask me the last 5.
But every week the same thing. They get something at the last 2 questions.
Yeah.
Well, they're good questions.
Yeah. They'll just start off the conversation and see how we go.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Renato, tell me a bit about what you see currently in the Melbourne market. What's new? What's something that's caught your attention so far this year in comparison to last year? Because this is a different year than it was last year.
Yeah, it definitely is, right? So, in terms of the Melbourne market, I'm pretty optimistic about it, right? I think there's a lot of green shoots compared to what there was the last 12 months in terms of inquiry, opportunities for first homeowners, investors alike. I think the next 3 to 5 years is going to be really, really good for the Melbourne market. We've been a little bit dormant the last 3 years, right? Queensland's had a really good run. WA's had a good run, and same as South Australia. I think Sydney and Melbourne have probably been left behind a little bit. But I see that as an opportunity, right? I genuinely think Melbourne is at the bottom of the next property cycle. And I think that if people are wanting to buy, now's the time to buy.
Agreed. Tell us a bit about your personal journey, how you got into this position, what you did the last 10 years, why you love your position right now. Just a bit about that.
Yeah. So I'm a qualified building designer by trade. So started off designing and going down that route. I'm very passionate about that, and we'll come to that when I started Verv. Worked my way through, sort of got into sales. I remember the sales manager at the time, he was like, mate, you're good at talking and you actually understand the product. He goes, I reckon you'll make some pretty good money in sales. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, we'll stuff it. I was young, I had a crack and did it right. And then came back into the office, and I wanted to get an understanding of how the whole construction business operated.
Yep.
Working my way through the industry and a few different volume builders and sort of progressing my way up into that sort of general manager role. I've learnt a lot, right, on both retail and wholesale. So that was a really good learning experience, and sort of 18 years down the track, COVID hit, and for me it was like, great, let's go start our own thing. And now that I am doing my own thing, like, you'd never go back, right? Like when you've started your own business, it's your own brand. It's a reflection of me and I guess, what I want to be able to deliver in the industry. And I want to be the best medium density builder. Mm-hmm. I want to, drive down the streets and, you see a house, and that's a Verv house, Nice. So that's what our vision is, and that's what we want to do, and I think we're doing a good job of that at the moment, which is great.
You saw opportunity and you took it.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think we tell everyone.
Yeah.
When there's opportunity, not just in life, in property, in everything you do, just take it. Run with it.
And I think the important message is don't take the opportunity when things are good. Take the opportunities when everyone thinks the world's ending, right? Because it's not. Yeah. The reality is, we just go through the motions. You always get through the other end. And have a crack.
Yeah.
Right? You got nothing to lose.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned earlier you've got one property yourself as well.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and your experience with buying property.
Well, so it's quite funny actually. So I bought my first block when I was probably 19. Mm-hmm. And sold that 6 months later and made 50 grand cash. Right? And I was like, far out, how good's this? I made 50 grand, Like, that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then I literally bought another block of land 6 months later. I just literally rocked up and threw the land contract on the table, said to my old man, I'm going to build a house. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you just sold one, and you want to do another one. I'm like, yeah. He goes, all right. So, I was still young and very green, but I was in the industry and I knew the right people. Yeah. So, before you know it, you buy one, you buy two, you buy three, you're flipping this one, you're selling that one, and you're leveraging, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what I understood through buying and selling is that the property does all the heavy lifting for you, right? Back then, I wasn't earning big money, right? But the property was earning the money for me, right? And that's the key. We're very lucky in this country, and I say it all the time, that it is a very young country and it's growing extremely fast, right? We get a lot of people migrating to the country, which is great because it gives us opportunities as investors to buy more. And I still say today, right? No one's going to save as fast as the property market goes up in value.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's a good point. Everyone's asking us, like, they want to get to the market or they're a bit curious about the market. You made a good point there. Like, you were young, you got yourself into the real estate field, you made some money, you wanted to go again.
Yes.
I guess when you made that first transaction, you felt like there was an opportunity there, you made the money, you went again. I think that's all of our listeners now, even our clients, they need to understand, once you put your foot into the market, you won't go out. You're always going to be around it.
Yeah, and this is what I say to a lot of first homeowners, right? Get your foot in the door. Once your foot is in the door, the rest is easy.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, oh, but they're nervous about paying the deposit. And I get it. You've saved so hard, right, to get that deposit. And it's deflating the first couple of times because it's like, shit, I've got no money in my bank. But guess what? You've got an asset.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the critical part.
Yeah.
What's a good news story you've had one of your clients who bought a property or a bit unsure if they were going to buy it or not and just come across the other end? Great result. Couldn't have gone any better than they expected it to be.
Oh, listen, I've got a few clients like that, right? But over the journey, I've got one at the moment. Actually, he's just started. He's first homeowner. Didn't have a huge BC, but he was reserved in terms of, oh, do I do it? Do I don't do it? I want to do it. How am I going to get the finance? And you're working through all these challenges, right? But when he did deposit, even he calls me like once every couple of weeks. And I don't mind because I like giving young people the advice that I never got when I was that age, right?
That assurance.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's like, oh, mate, I'm super excited, but I'm still a little bit nervous. I'm like, that's a good thing, right? I'm like, it's the single most biggest investment you're ever going to make is buying property. But when I tell him about the stories of the houses that I've completed sort of 6 months ago and clients have unsold it and made $100,000, right? That's the stuff that gets him excited because I'm like, what I tell you, I'm not lying, right? I've got no reason to lie to my clients. There is money to be made in property and you can go again and again. And now he's thinking about, oh, what if I can do one every 12 months? I'm like, that's the best mindset to have, right? Challenge yourself. Right, yeah. Because now that you do have your foot in the door, that's exciting.
Yeah, doesn't matter about taking that first step.
It doesn't matter whether you're buying a house for $450,000 or $800,000, right? Buy within your means, get into the market, and you'll be able to purchase that thing for $800,000, $900,000, $1 million, whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's all about mindset. You challenge yourself, and good things will come. And I guess I tell our staff our clients everyone needs to talk to in my social circles. If you get those butterflies in your stomach, like every athlete, when they're running on the field, they got butterflies in their stomach. Yeah. When you're paying a deposit, you got butterflies in your stomach, you're nervous, you're scared, yeah? So it's the right, like you said, it's the right feeling to have. So go ahead and keep going, keep pushing.
And I also think it's critically important for first homeowners, right, that not to get emotionally involved with the purchase, right? Because if you do, that's when those bad thoughts might start to creep in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, am I doing the right thing? I was speaking to a friend at breakfast the other day and they're like, oh, someone's buying something in bloody wherever. Oh, you should try and do that. Well, hang on. No. Like, stick to what you know, right? You've been given good advice. And let's be honest, you never go backwards in property. You know, you never really lose money by purchasing, a property in Australia. So we're pretty lucky and we're very blessed. So, I think there's a lot of good news stories there.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you purchase in a suburb that might have slower growth, if you hold on to that property for a little bit longer, you'll still make profit out of it.
Absolutely. And I think a good thing to note, and I'm sure this is the same for Sydney and all the other states, but definitely in Melbourne, if you're buying in a Greenfield estate, right?
What do you mean by a Greenfield estate, just in case?
So in the growth corridors, right? So generally the new suburbs, in each region, they're master plan communities, right? And it's a blank canvas, right? So if you get into that estate early, you're doing really, really well by the time that thing's finished. So, for instance, if there's a 1,000 lot subdivision and you buy in stage 1, 2, or 3, right? The reality is the developers are going to be bumping up the land price each stage, right? Every time they do that, you're welcome. You've just made 10, 15 grand. You know what I mean? So by the end of that estate, they've made plenty of equity.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah, you never really go without. And it's not like you're buying an established property where you got to spend another 30, 40, 50 grand on maintenance, and then you complain that you're not getting the same returns.
I think that's the biggest mistake. We talk about it all the time. They want to buy established people. They feel like it's better going 4 or 5 year old properties. They think it's a bit better, or even older. We told them warranty. How big do you feel like warranty is? The maintenance period is 7 years. Like, tell me a bit about that. How would you tell a client why it's so beneficial going for a brand new home over something that's 6, 7, or even older?
Yeah, so really good point, and I've had this conversation a lot recently, because a lot of clients do want to go for an established property, and it's like, but why? Like, because if it was me, why would I be buying something where I'm essentially paying for someone else's equity? You know, I'm paying at a premium price on something that I've got to do maintenance on. Whereas if you buy new, you get the capital growth of it, you know, during construction. And it might be, if the land's titled, might take, 4 or 5 months to build. Property still goes up in those 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Right? If it's 12 months out, you're getting capital growth over 12 months when all you've really done is paid your deposits. So they're laying all that on the table, and they're missing out on the opportunity, right? And it's significant money, right? In Australia, property goes up generally on average 6 or 7%. That's 6 or 7% that you've just lost because you've bought something at a premium.
It's important.
Yeah.
It is critically important, right? You're getting brand new appliances, fixtures, fittings. You get to depreciate it if you're investing. If you're a first homeowner, you get to move into a brand new home, right? And when you see the first homeowners walk through that, they're excited. They're pumped about it.
Yeah, it's not an existing property that they're walking through going, oh, there's a crack in the wall. Oh, we need to change the light fitting.
Correct.
Everything's ready to go.
And in, we do a 3-month maintenance period, right? So in 3 months, you write a defects list, and we come back and we essentially, do the repairs.
Yeah. And
you buy an established house. In 3 months, you can write as many lists as you want. The only person that's doing the maintenance is you, right? So there's a lot of benefits to partnering up, I guess, with a reputable builder that is about building quality, not quantity.
100%.
Definitely. You were talking earlier, Daniel, about I guess a few things in the news lately that are affecting the new property market and things that people are seeing. Do you want to talk about that a little bit further?
Yeah, so a lot of people, they get a bit more scared of buying brand new properties, registration delays, all this kind of stuff. So you just one Google search away, like everything's online these days. There's no hiding anymore. Hence why we only partner with reputable people who know their stuff, know their trade, know their craft. Now, my client was going up to me saying that, Daniel, I don't know if I want to go for a home and land package. I'm like, why? What's wrong with a home and land package? I want something that's completed or already done. I'm like, okay, so talk me through it. Let's go. Why? What's the big hold up?
Yeah.
I had a client who he had a friend who had a past experience. They were waiting 2.5 years to start the construction just before COVID, after COVID, sorry. I'm like, okay, so there's a lot of factors. Maybe the land wasn't ready. They're waiting for sewage. External factors could be a lot of it. And he goes, that was more of a common. His friend was saying this again. They were telling me. So they wanted to get something that's completed. They were paying maybe 50k or 70k premium over the home and land normal contract.
Mm-hmm.
When we're trying to explain to him, you can save on stamp duty because you only pay stamp duty on the land. So they won't understand that until we broke it all down. And like, you're getting a brand new property. Like, the bank's giving money every time out to the builder, and they're making sure that everything's in the build contract, it's completed correctly, it's the right materials, all that kind of stuff. And like, most importantly, you'll see once it's built, and if it is in the master plan estates, if it's stage 2, stage 3, and they're building stage 4 and stage 5, and they're advertising that, you're making your money. So talk me through it. Do you not want to make money? Is there anything more to it? Unless it's like for the retirement self-managed super fund, it's a whole different story. But these guys are just getting their first time investment.
Yeah. So what did they say was the reason or the cause for that angst?
That their friend told them that the registration delays scared them. That was it. That was the main root of the cause. They were so happy before to go ahead and go, but it was the friend said registration delays caused a massive issue. They didn't want to go ahead anymore.
Yeah.
So I broke it all down, but like, What would you say to that?
Well, and then we go back to, bad advice, right? Like,
I mean, can you say advice is coming from a friend?
well, but
it's not guided advice.
But a lot of people take that as gospel, right?
Yes.
You know, because they trust their friends. They trust their family. They trust that uncle that supposedly has been a developer and a builder for so long, and
barbecue.
They know everything, right? The family barbecue, yeah. So, but listen, I think we need to understand that there are things out of the industry's control, right? Especially with developers in terms of titling land. The authorities, hold things up massively, and clients need to understand the process probably a little bit more.
Yep.
So they're not so hard on the builder or the developer. And to be fair, it's actually not the builder's fault. We're just as annoyed as what the client is half the time, because we're calling the authorities and calling the developer and chasing these things up and saying, well, where is everything, right?
And that would cost you time and money at the same time as well, with resources to follow that process. So
absolutely,
as much as the client wants to hurry that process up because they want to be in it or earning money through a tenant being in it, you're also saying, I want this done as well so my team can wrap this up.
Yeah, absolutely. So like some things that we do at Verv to sort of prevent those issues arising is that I won't release a project unless I know that titles are going to be definitely within 12 months, right? So I'll hold back releasing something until I know that the civil contractor has been engaged and they've broken dirt, right? Because I know how long roughly it's going to take for them to do the civil program. You give it, a 3-month buffer in terms of what the title delays are going to be. And then you work through that, with the client and the agent and so on and so forth. So you go into it knowing that you've done the best that you can to alleviate that problem.
I think 100%. And if there is anything that's registered now, your advice, like if you want to go ahead and right now and you have the capacity to go ahead, it's registered now, the risk is pretty much gone. And as a developer yourself, you have your guys ready on standby to go straight away. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, correct.
What's your site start? So the client's settled, they're happy to go ahead.
Yep.
When do you usually start construction?
Yeah, so if a client came in with a titled block of land, for instance, we can get to site within 6 to 8 weeks.
It's pretty quick.
Right, providing that they've got their finances sorted. We don't muck around. And the reason I can do that is because I'm not the big volume builder, right? I'm not doing 800-900 a year. We cap our business at a number that's comfortable for us. So, I think if you're a purchaser and you've got a titled block, right, or you're thinking about buying a titled block, now's the time to do it. Like, you should have bought it yesterday, right? Like, that's the advice that we should be giving people. If you're in a position to do it, don't wait, right? Because if you wait, you're only going to miss out on the opportunity in 3 to 6 months' time when you think, I'm going to save a little bit more money. Well, guess what? The market's moved.
Yeah.
And when the market moves, I tell people all the time, you can't save as fast as what property goes up. So, with our medium density runs, I lock in the site start, right? So if we're at, say, 80% sold, right, for instance, and I know titles are going to be, within 4 to 6 weeks, well, then I know I'm going to site within 8 weeks of those titles, right? So we need to haul ass as a business to get the last couple wrapped up.
Yep.
And then we're not waiting for anyone. We're taking those things to site.
And also just based on what we said earlier about the master plan investing.
Yeah.
Like even me personally, I bought in a master plan. Did so well, performed so well. I want people to understand, even listeners out there, if you're purchasing when they're building a proposed new school, town centre, you're getting in there early, why would you wait? Like, you're not going into something it's brand new, it's unfamiliar territory. Guess what? The developers are putting all their activity and energy into the master plan. It's going to look good.
Yes.
So I use the example to all our clients, if they're Sydney-siders, just look at Oran Park was 10 years ago. Gregory Hill was 10 years ago. It was just dirt in Sydney. Now they got the Badgerys Creek Airport. They got new restaurants. Now they got the schools everywhere now. It's established. Imagine if you can find a spot like that in different towns around Australia. Why would you wait?
Yeah.
Give us an example of one of your master plans, because I love the master plans. I think they're the most interesting form of investment, because if you can get something that you own land, you actually got a piece of dirt on it, and you got a house on it.
Yeah.
You're not buying an apartment or townhouse. Nothing wrong with an apartment or townhouse, but you can get a home in a master plan estate. You just go yesterday.
Absolutely, and that's what. So I love houses and townhouses in Melbourne, right? Because townhouses is now the affordable house that you can get into the marketplace for sort of that sort of 500 to 700 mark. And I think, because the way we build them down there, they're two-part house and land, right? So the client gets their own title, there's no body corp, which is really, really good. And like you were saying, right, they're in premium locations. I've got a run of 8 townhouses that are park fronted, 25k from Melbourne CBD for 680 grand.
Yeah.
Right? Sydney side of say, why are they so cheap?
Yeah, we'd never find
Melburnians say, Melburnians are like, oh, gee, that's bloody expensive.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you scratch your head and it's like, this is actually really good value, right? Because, when you've lived...
buy one of those.
Yeah, but when you've lived through a few property cycles, you actually understand, right? Yeah. A lot of the first homeowners and investors that are probably getting into the market haven't lived through a cycle, right? So they probably don't understand what is going to happen. But you're right, the master plan community is fantastic. And even if you're in a smaller boutique development, but you're park fronted, right? You've got a Stockland or a Mirvac or someone who's pumping millions and millions of dollars in infrastructure.
Yeah.
Lend these to it really, really well, right? They used to deliver the infrastructure first, then they used to start selling sort of, future stages. So Mirvac do it really well. So just to name a few. But a lot of the guys in Melbourne, they're mandated, I guess, by the councils to be delivering the schools, the parks, the wetlands. So, I actually almost think sometimes that they're better than some of the brownfield sites, which is like the suburbs sort of closer to Melbourne CBD, because they don't have the brand new shopping centres and all the fancy amenities, right? They've still got an old shopping centre from 40 years ago. It's things like that when you put them in perspective, if you're living 20, 30 k's from out of the CBD, you're getting the best of the best, essentially, right? Everything's brand new.
Yeah.
And I talk about this a lot now, common sense investing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all my clients okay, I can give you the greatest numbers, stats, we can look at all that stuff. That's great. If there's a master plan community, they're building a Woolies, Bunnings, brand new shopping centre, brand new schools, brand new cafes.
Yep.
It makes sense to invest there because they're going to have employment. People are going to walk their dog, take their kids to the wetlands, go to a new shopping centre. It's a good place to live. Imagine a young couple, mum, dad, 1, 2 kids, maybe just on their own, whatever it may be, and they can just walk to the local shopping centre or drive within a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
They can, the new Woolies is there. They can do their Woolies online order, which everyone does these days.
Chase the Woolies.
Chase the Woolies. It makes sense, yeah. It's just common sense investing. Don't try and overcomplicate when you invest in something. If it's brand new amenities around you, you're going to get a tenant faster. And even think about yourself. If I'm going to live somewhere and there's a brand new shopping centre infrastructure all around me, brand new parks, it feels good to live in that area. And your tenants will feel the exact same way as well. So don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
In terms of, like you said, it's 25 k's away from the city, but you got everything as good as being in the city or even 10 k's from the city for half the price.
Yes.
So why not? Go crazy. Go invest. And then you got those other maybe 10 or 12 k's from the city. They're paying maybe 850, 800k, and they're got those older town centres. Can't even park anywhere. Streets are smaller. So just understand, if you're a tenant and you're investing in your property and you're a tenant now, think about what they want to see. They want to be in the brand new home. They want to be in a nice facilities. It makes them feel good. It gives everyone a good feeling at the end of the day.
That's right.
Just chase the Woolies, man.
Yeah.
That's all I could say. The best way of investing.
Yeah.
When you have all that around you, you can't lose.
That's right.
Definitely. We spoke earlier about, I guess, entry into the market and first home buyers, struggling, especially in Sydney. But, even in Melbourne, you're saying if people think 680, 650 is a lot of money, then, coming to Sydney, they would have the shock of their life. But what kind of opportunities have you got for first home buyers at the moment in the market?
So we've got a little thing called the Verv Saver, right? So and what we do there is we basically get clients into the market that probably don't have the full 10% or 20% savings right now. But for instance, if I've got land, or if I've got a project where land's titling 12 months from now, I can get a 5% land deposit, right? Negotiate a good term with them.
Yeah.
A client, and it's mainly on some townhouse product that I've got, because the land component's smaller, right? The purchase price is smaller, right? So if your land's at 170, 200, call it 220, you know, you need $10,000 or thereabouts as a deposit to get into the market. As a builder, right, I don't need to take a deposit to sign a build contract.
Yeah, so it's 5% of the land price.
Of the land, because we do them as two-part house and land, remember, right? So, and that's the really creative way to get clients in. So what we do is, right, you take a $5,000 initial deposit, right? $1,000 then goes to the land developer. We secure that land under a 5% deposit, right? And then we engage another business that we've partnered up with to help clients on their saving journey, right? Because finance education is the biggest thing in our market at the moment. It's not selling houses, it's finance, right? And if you can get the finance right, well, then the journey to purchase is actually quite easy because you found them a solution.
Yeah.
So, so we've partnered up with this company, and basically you've got a savings coach that helps them, right? Say, okay, well, based on your income, based on your current savings, your purchase price might be, call it $550, right? You've already put $10,000 down. Great. Well done. Now, you might have another 20, 30 grand worth of savings, right? They'll open up a separate savings account that you can't take money out, only money goes in. Then you go on a savings journey, right? Once you sit down with them and our broker, I know, right, how long it's going to take this purchaser to get into the market. And generally, if it's, call it 8 months, 12 months, whatever that is, because they're saving towards something and they've committed to that package, they save so much faster, right? But not only that, if you're a young professional, or, you know, there's a young couple or whatever, you might get 6 months in and the parents might want to help out, right? I've got little bonuses for them along the way as well, right? So once you get to 50% of that savings journey, I'll throw in a 900 mil appliance pack, right, to the value of $4,000. Once you get to 75%, well, then I'll throw in a dryer and a washing machine, right? Because it's a first homeowner, it's like these are the little things that they probably don't think about at the end.
Yeah.
But I'm incentivizing them to, you know, knuckle down, start saving for their future.
Yeah,
right?
Things that they certainly wouldn't be able to afford when they first potentially move into the property either.
That's right. So the advantage that we provide is that we're a full turnkey builder. So, you know, we do everything: landscaping, fencing, alarms, and so on and so forth. So once you throw in those two things, there's nothing else essentially other than your furniture and your fridge. Which we can help out with the fridge as well, right? So we try and, you know, take out all the sort of the stress for clients. But it is all about just finding solutions for people, because if they were to try and buy an established house, right, you know, average house in Melbourne, $600,000, $800,000, you know, who's got 120 grand, 160 grand just sitting in the bank account to go buy their first house? Yeah. It doesn't happen. So the reality is, if I can get you in for $10,000, that's a really good message. Yeah. Right?
I actually had somebody ask me this morning, someone I bumped into outside, and we were talking about property and getting into property. And I started mentioning a couple of these opportunities, and he was like, so I don't need $100,000?
Yeah.
I have 40. Can I start with 40? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
And he's like, oh my goodness, I need to change my mindset.
And this is, I talk about this a lot, right? We do a really average job of educating clients in our industry, and mainly around finance, right? No one teaches people how to save or what to save or how much you need to get into the market. And everyone's perception is you need 20%, right? Which is what the big bad banks always tell you. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, if you've got that, fantastic. You're miles ahead of everyone else. But when you're buying off the plan and you're buying a new home, right, we can help you get into the market for limited deposit amounts. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we're doing. Another one's HomePay. So we've partnered up with a company called HomePay. they're a fantastic operation. So we've just launched that recently in Melbourne. I'm lucky enough to be one of only a couple of builders in Melbourne that have actually been accredited by the bank and HomePay to participate. And there's a lot of sort of hoops that we had to jump through by way of build qualities, build time frames, financials, and so on and so forth. So we passed all that with flying colours, which is fantastic. So now I can offer that to our purchasers. And basically what that is, it's build now, pay later, and save interest up to 12 months. Right.
So like an afterpay for property, almost.
Almost, right? But I mean, you still need to come up with a deposit, right? So with HomePay, you can still do it as a 2-part house and land, which is fantastic. As an owner rock, you need 8% deposit. As an investor, you need 10%. So right, so we can still offer this to investors.
As well.
It's not
great.
just for first homeowners, which is fantastic, right? So and from the developer's perspective, they're still happy. Right, because they're getting land settlement when they call for titles, which is fantastic. And then all we need is our 5% build deposit. We're off our, on our way starting to build that property. So the client doesn't pay any interest from land settlement all the way throughout the build.
Imagine we had that.
Yeah, I know. I wish.
I'd make you throw me in a PS5, monitor, TV.
Yeah, I love the process of that first one with the incentives along the way. I think that's really
you got me
great.
hooked.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I had that, whatever you need, I'm going.
Yeah, it's definitely a mindset thing in that, okay, you've reached a certain milestone. Here you go, have a little treat. Like, throw in this little bonus. But it's a really great concept.
And you feel like it's worked well so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's really starting to get some really good traction. But more importantly, it's getting people into the conversation that they probably were, a bit nervous, or I don't know who to speak to, or
didn't think
they're not getting the right advice, or they probably just they're probably renting, right? They don't have a huge deposit. And they want to get into the market, right? They're motivated, but they just haven't had the right guidance.
Yeah.
That's when the support team comes in. We keep talking about you need the right team around you to succeed.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said it perfectly, you're supporting the first home buyers along their journey.
Yeah.
Like we're supporting our investors as well alongside their journey. It just makes sense. Like the right support team will take you a long way.
Yeah.
Like no team has ever won just with one player. Have a team, utilize them around you, and you can find good success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the other cool thing is, I can actually combine the Verv Saver with HomePay, right?
Wow.
Because I'm the only builder in Melbourne that can do that under a medium density structure. We can get people off, out of the market with 10K.
Yeah.
And then actually take them all the way through the journey without having to pay a single bit of interest from land settlement to completion. So that might be, 18 months, 2 years. Right, where they've, paid the deposits, which is fantastic, but they haven't paid any interest. So there's complete uplift, right, in terms of equity for that particular purchaser.
It's crazy.
That's amazing. So you can get in the market for 10K, keep paying your, obviously, savings plan through that process all the way until completion.
Until you get your deposits.
Yeah.
Right, so if you're owner rock, you're at 8%, on a $600,000 house and land package, it's not a huge amount of cash.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, actually.
That is good.
It is the finance education around that, and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
The more education people have and investors have, you can make those better decisions and you can have a better outcome. So go on to the bad news stories, go on to the bad research that you're trying to do, bad advice. Just the finance education, with the property education, with all these little incentives, can take people a long way.
Yeah.
Utilize them. Just stop trying to think about it or research too hard. Utilize and experience it.
Yes.
Only way you're going to learn is if you actually test the waters. It's like you can't swim by just reading a book. You need to go into the water.
Yeah.
Try it. Learn.
Yeah.
Jump in, take the first step, whichever analogy you want to use. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been great having you on, Renato. We might be able to have you on another time and touch on, I'm sure there's 1,000 other topics we could talk about, but it was really great to hear about some good first home buy opportunities and what's happening in the market down in Victoria.
No worries. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.